Have you ever really stopped to think about your body's incredible built-in repair system? The one that's working 24/7 behind the scenes to heal and regenerate you? Well, today we're diving into the microscopic powerhouses that make it all happen. Stem cells, the body's own master builders.
I mean, really think about it for a second. That cut you got on your finger last week, it heals. If you break a bone, it mends itself. The tissues all throughout your body are constantly being replaced. The answer to how our bodies pull this off, it lies with a very, very special kind of cell. Okay, let's break that definition down. An undifferentiated cell is basically a blank slate. It hasn't decided what it wants to be when it grows up. It can self-renew, which just means it can make more copies of itself. And then, here's the magic part, it can differentiate, transforming into a specialized cell, like a skin cell, a muscle cell, or even a brain cell. So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll cover the basics of what stem cells are. Then, we'll get into the two main types and this really cool idea of a hierarchy of power. After that, we're going to look at their incredible potential for the future of medicine. And finally, we have to tackle the big ethical debate that surrounds them. All right, let's jump right into our first topic. As we just talked about, stem cells are these foundational building blocks. They don't just create our bodies from scratch, they're also working tirelessly to maintain them our entire lives.
Now here's something you've got to understand. Not all stem cells are created equal. They basically fall into two major categories, and this difference is absolutely crucial to understanding, well, pretty much the entire field of stem cell research.
So let's look at the key differences between these two families. On one hand, you have embryonic stem cells. They come from a very early stage embryo, and their job is massive, to build an entire organism. This means they are incredibly flexible. Then you have adult stem cells, which are found in our existing tissues. Their job is totally different. It's all about maintenance and repair. Because of that, they're less flexible and, a lot more challenging to grow in a lab. And you might be really surprised to find out where these adult stem cells are hiding out. It's not just some one obscure place. No, they're found all over the body, from your bone marrow and blood vessels to your brain, your skin, your liver, even in the retina of your eye. They're basically our on-call internal repair crew. So this brings us perfectly to our third topic, which builds right on this idea of flexibility. In the world of stem cells, scientists call this flexibility potency. It's basically a measure of what a stem cell has the potential to become. Here's a super simple way to think about it. Imagine a brand new college grad who could theoretically take on any job in a big company. They have this huge range of potential career paths, right? Now, compare that to a senior executive who is highly, highly specialized in just one department. That's the fundamental difference in stem cell potency. This whole career path idea breaks down into four main levels. Right at the very top, you've got totipotent. This is the master key. It can become an entire person plus all the support structures, like the placenta. Just below that is pluripotent, kind of like the executive who can become any cell in the body. Then there's multipotent, the manager of a specific tissue. And finally, unipotent, the ultimate specialist that makes only one specific type of cell. The main thing you have to remember about totipotent cells is their unique power. They can generate a complete living organism. They are the true starting point, and they're only found in the first couple of days after conception. Now, pluripotent cells are almost as powerful, but they have one key limitation. They can form any of the over 200 cell types that make up our bodies. We're talking everything from nerve cells to heart cells, but they can't create the support structures like the placenta. And your classic example of a pluripotent cell, that's an embryonic stem cell. Okay, so we've covered the science, but why does any of this matter? Well, this is where we get into the truly revolutionary stuff, the potential for these cells to completely change medicine as we know it. I mean, the potential here is staggering. Right now, scientists are chasing three incredible avenues. There's therapeutic cloning, which could create patient-specific cells to study a disease. There's gene therapy, which aims to correct faulty genes. And then there's regenerative medicine, which is all about repairing the body itself. Let's just zoom in on regenerative medicine for a second, because this is wild. This is the idea of using stem cells to heal or even replace tissues and organs that have been damaged by age, disease, or some kind of trauma. Think about repairing a spinal cord injury or growing a new pancreas for a person with diabetes. And one of the biggest game changers here lies in using adult stem cells. This quote highlights a concept called autologous transplantation. It's a fancy term, but all it means is using a patient's own cells. And why is that a big deal? because it means the body won't reject them. You overcome all those immune complications. So here's how it would work in practice. First, you take adult stem cells from a patient, maybe from their bone marrow. Then, in the lab, what's called in vitro, you coax them into becoming the specific cell type you need, like heart cells, to repair a damaged heart. And finally, you put these new healthy cells back into that same patient where they can get to work. It's personalized medicine at its most basic, powerful level. Of course, with this kind of incredible power, you know there's going to be a massive debate. The potential of stem cells, especially the embryonic ones, forces us to ask some really, really deep ethical questions. And the core of that controversy really boils down to the source. See, to get embryonic stem cells, you have to destroy a blastocyst, which is a human embryo at a very, very early stage of development. And this, as you can imagine, raises profound moral questions about when life begins. On the flip side, getting adult stem cells from a person's own tissues doesn't involve an embryo at all, which makes it a far less controversial procedure. And the debate isn't just ethical. There are also some serious scientific risks to think about. Embryonic stem cells, for example, have a known risk of forming tumors, and they can be rejected by a patient's immune system. Adult stem cells, especially when they come from the patient themselves, just don't have these same risks, which adds another really complex layer to the whole conversation. So at the end of the day, we are standing on the edge of a brand new medical frontier. Stem cells offer the potential to cure diseases that we once thought were absolutely incurable. But as we move forward, the huge question that we all have to grapple with is this. For this incredible and incredibly controversial technology, what should the rules of engagement be?